Kaz here's up there.
There it is.
Me. I promise you guys, it's me. It's none of these fine gentlemen. It's my wife. That's who I'm blaming. I'm blaming my wife. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Nick here from Nick's Kicks and Comics, and I am graciously joined by these fine gentlemen who put up with my BS. So, can't point. To my right, Mr. Dank Comics. How are you?
Great, doing great. Yeah.
Good. Mr. Flash by Night.
Moi.
I hope you've read Moon Knight by now.
Look, that's what I was thinking as you were theoretically pulling up. I'm like, you know what? I could have been reading.
Yeah, no. And you know, I'm saving my personal favorite for last because there's never enough Knicks.
Oh,
Never, ever enough Knicks.
thank you, sir.
And that's about the only time it circumvents somebody from my hometown. But
I'm honored. Thanks for having me, dude.
Wait, Flash, your name's Nick?
Right now, yes.
Oh, okay.
Nick by day, Flash by night.
Right.
We'll take you in, bro. We'll take you in.
Speaking of Brooklyn, there he is, Mr. DJ Links.
DJ.
How are you, Mr. Chip Gettler, the White Shadow?
The White Shadow. He is called the White Shadow.
Manny the actor, I hope you got that gig today. Station, brother, station. Mr. Austin LeMay, how are you? Austin gave me some exciting news, which I cannot share just yet.
Oh, you guys are expecting?
But yeah, I'm probably gonna cry on the stream next week.
Oh,
Yes,
That's awesome.
Yes, Chip. There's Chip as always to point the knife in. Shop and Comics. How are you? Another good dude. I haven't seen Shop lately, but that's probably
What up, Shop?
my favorite 1,423-year-old station, Fable Station.
What up, Fable?
Looks like every time I'm going on Instagram, he's live nowadays.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I see the beard, Fable. Don't think I don't notice. Louisville's favorite super fan, Mr. Jimmy the Don. How are you, Jimmy? And I saw another one in there. There he is. Nick.
Aha.
Another Nick.
Oh,
Hoping to get him on the show, too. All right, so since we're caught up with the chat and I'm finally a little bit unfrazzled, what I want to know, we're here tonight to talk about our positives, negatives, crazy stories about getting a book, losing a book, the stuff we hate, the stuff we love in the comic book community. I think we should start with our origin story, so to speak, but what I'm interested in is if you've been collecting all the way through. I think we've pretty much been 7 months back in, just about.
Yep.
So we'll go clockwise, and what I want to know is what brought you back in, if there was a specific issue, how long you were collecting before that, and we'll start with you, Mr. Dank.
All right, so I was probably collecting from 7 to 18, the first round, and then so about 10 years, and then 20-year gap because college and life and stuff like that, and it seemed like buying comics didn't make sense at the time. And then I came back in during COVID. After I looked at my old collection, I started looking at the prices. I didn't know what was going on. I was like confused, I was like, is this real? Is this worthless crap is what? And then someone else told me to make a YouTube channel for comics, and then it's just been going on since then. But I've been on and off reading like graphic novels in between.
Was there any issue in particular that brought you back?
In comics, I can't even remember. It's a blur. It's a blur.
No, I can't remember either. I just remember that I was reading digitally to catch up, with Marvel Unlimited. And just one day I just grabbed the comic out of the blue. I don't even remember what it was. Like you said, it's a blur.
Yeah.
And just that tactile feeling. And I was like, I got to get back in. And many thousands of dollars later, here we are.
we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get about that. All right. How about you, Mr. Nick? What's your story?
Dude, Yeah, so I never read comics as a kid. I didn't have any friends that read them. I didn't have any like older brothers that read them or anything. So I kind of I got in really late. I was probably 28, 29, 30, something like that. And I remember going to a tattoo and horror convention show in Nashville, and they had an artist there sitting at a table with an or Freddy versus Jason versus Ash comic, and it was drawn. The cover was J. Scott Campbell, and I didn't know who that was, but I picked it up because it was Ash, right? So I was like, hell yeah, dude, that's awesome. And then it was right around that time when MCU was starting to get really, really hot. I wandered into a comic book store because I played Magic the Gathering a lot, and they had a lot of comics laying around, and they were advertising Rebirth. So I was like, oh, Rebirth, that's a cool little thing. I wonder what that even means. You know what I mean? So I just started like asking some questions, and New 52 was ending, and I jumped on board with Rebirth, and just kind of fell in love with it from there. But I went right from that right into indies, picked up Walking Dead, Saga, stuff like that. It was still going on back then. And dude, the rest is history. Now I got 15, 16, 17 books a week somehow, and got cool stuff behind me. But yeah, other than that, dude, it's been a heck of a journey, dude.
I can only hope for just 16 or 17 books a week.
Yeah, I see some of your stuff. It's crazy. I think I'm crazy.
I can't. And I'm really starting to shift focus now. I think I'm gonna whittle down my pull list and then start focusing on bigger books. So
that's not a bad idea.
Mr. Flash by Night, how about you?
I am in the Nick at Night category. I did not read comics or collect comics when I was younger. I had a friend of mine who's actually, I call him the Flash by Night silent benefactor. If he thinks I need something, he'll just slide it over to me, or he'll suggest something or whatever. But he read comics back when we were younger, elementary, junior high school, or whatever. But where we were and the school we went to and people we hung around, you don't advertise it like you do now. It's one of those things. So even though we were friends, I didn't know he read comics like that. And he kind of told me later on when I started getting into comics. He's like, you're getting into comics now because while it's cool, but back a long time ago when we were underground reading, that's when I started and all this good stuff. But my actual start in reading comics came after sometime between Captain America: Winter Soldier and the Black Panther movie.
Wow.
I thought that the Winter Soldier Bucky reveal, thought it was great. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in movies. Great twist. And I'm like, whoever wrote this needs a raise. He should be riding high at the top of Hollywood, all this good stuff. And then I go and I do my little traditional digging, because after Avengers 1, when I didn't know who Thanos was, I thought I should go ahead and Google after every movie to see what I missed. And it turns out that Bucky has been the Winter Soldier for like 20 years or so before then. Mm-hmm. Like, wait a minute. Who knew this? Those comic readers? Okay, I'm missing out. I need to read comics. Where do I go? And there was a comic shop around the corner from my theater. I stopped in there, and I stopped in another comic shop locally. And one day I decided I was going to get into it. I called both of them. One didn't call me back. The other called me back. That's who got my business to this day. It was kind of just that, plain and simple. Now, I am still firmly Team Small Haul. I cannot hang with you guys with these 10, 15, 20 book weeks. I am too frugal for that. I would break out in hives. In fact, I got 10 books this week because I needed variants of Moon Knight. Besides that, I am allergic to that many books. I don't know how you guys do it.
No, well, that's just because you're a normal human being, and you're not a degenerate like myself who has to take home a stack of books I can barely carry. So, better for you.
Yeah, this is not sustainable, just so you know. What I'm doing is not sustainable. This is not a long-term plan. This is a very short-sighted plan.
Flash,
I mean, my office is probably 12 by 12, and I need to move my stuff into the living room just to organize. I can't. It gets crazy. It's driving me nuts lately, and it's just all comics all the time.
It is crazy.
Yeah. I'm notoriously frugal about everything, which kind of backfires sometimes, especially on the collecting end. We'll get to that later. But yeah, so my frugalness won't let me buy that many books per week. So I usually end up with 1 or 2 Marvel, 1 or 2 DC, couple of indies, whatever kind of sticks out to me. And if something really jumps off the shelf at me and catches my eye, I may grab an extra book every now and then.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I wish I was like you. Now, what I've noticed too is like we've all been in the YouTube game around the same time, 6 or 7 months, give or take. All right.
Right.
Do you think that there's a honeymoon period where it kind of tapers off, or do you guys see yourself continuing through? Because the community is great. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, when it comes to hangouts and stuff, I find myself on streams just like this, just to talk to guys. I mean, everybody is so enjoyable to talk to, and it's like every now and again, comics will be discussed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you from my experience. Before I had a channel, I was probably picking up 5 to 10 books a week. Now that's tripled. I'm just lucky enough to do that, and that's like I said before, it's not sustainable. I'm probably 200 or 300 books past my like comfort zone when it comes to storing them right now.
Yes.
So I got to do something. I think I'm going to hit categories one more time coming up in the fall, and then I'm going to probably purge. But I need some options. But
see, then purging brings its own challenge.
Yeah.
If you start to look at books and you're like, what happens if?
Well,
You gotta look at your neighbors differently because you don't know what happens on that day. That one day once a year, and all the laws.
I was about to ask if you get the purge one day a year.
Oh yeah, no.
So here's the other thing: if you purge your books, do you pocket that or do you take that and just go buy more books?
I have some plans for. I'm gonna go through and see what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. I'm gonna get that pile of things I don't necessarily have any attachment to, and I have a feeling that it's going to be a lot. And then I'm going to try to find better homes for those books first, and then I'm going to take the leftovers from that and maybe go to a store and say, hey, can you give me 10 cents for these? You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Yeah. Go from there.
And it comes to a thing too, is like having purged earlier and looking at the values of those books now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's forcing me to hold on to stuff a little longer than I should now, just because I have that. I don't want to call it FOMO. I guess it is FOMO. Because you don't want to miss that top price. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I do know what you mean.
Like in looking, see, what brought me to watch Dank's channel in the beginning is he was getting back into it, but he had a very methodical way about collecting. Like you did have a plan. Not that you weren't susceptible to the FOMO, but you seem to be more logical towards it.
Well, yeah, I definitely I like to experience things on. I see it as sort of a waves and microcosms, and I watch myself get in and out. You know, so I definitely whittled down my pull list like crazy. In terms of YouTube channel, I think I'm still finding my voice, right? And I have more of an agenda because I'm a creator too. So I'm because of the YouTube channel, I went back to comics because I'm a filmmaker, but I'm like, you know what? I did comics before. Let's do it again. And the channel is going to help build an audience for the comic book series and the company with multiple series. Actually, that's what the plan is. I'm going to do 5 titles at once and help other people make titles and stuff. But the YouTube channel, I don't know what I'm just really experimenting. I mean, today I released a meditation video.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saved it. I got to watch it after this.
So interestingly enough, you both, Nick and Flash, right? You guys seem to have come into comics through movies, right?
Right.
And Flash, you came in through Marvel, and now it seems like you're a DC guy.
It depends on what's released. Like I'm gonna always have a Flash book, and as long as they give me Moon Knight, Marvel, I'll take Moon Knight. I read Miles on the regular, and so I wouldn't pin myself down to one publisher. I don't think so.
No, right. I assumed you talk about DC so much, and there's so much DC on your channel that I just assumed you were a DC guy actually.
I think that's just happenstance. Those are the books I say that they might just jump off the shelf at me, and then I share them. So it's probably happenstance more than anything.
I think it's very telling where your allegiance lies when you read the Flash books and you've yet to read Moon Knight. Flash first, Flash by night.
That's because they've been making me wait forever. Like DC is giving me Flash everywhere on TV, movie screens, books. Marvel is making me wait, but I really do want to be a 50-50 Flash Moon Knight guy.
I take exception to that comment because you really don't know what waiting is. I've been reading comics for the better part of 4 decades. We didn't have good movies. We had shitty TV shows on Channel 5, on Channel 2. I had to wait 40 years for Iron Man. So when you say you wait, you're just waiting a minute. You just been waiting a minute.
Yeah.
You have more content than you could possibly shake a stick at.
Okay. The weight is relative. I'll give you that. The weight is very relative.
And that's just the old man in me, the salty old man in me, just going, get off my lawn. I will say the prevalence of Transformers movies. Even though I like Transformers, I love Optimus Prime. They keep making me say Hollywood owes me. This is entitlement here. Hollywood owes me a Voltron movie sometime soon, live action. Now, if I had to actually say wait in a real sense, that's what I'm waiting on is a live action Voltron. Yeah, I think we may be a while from that. I understand that they're doing. I call it the G-Force. And I remember this as a cartoon. There were five pilots dressed as birds. And I don't know how old you are, but they played this on Channel 5.
No, I know what you're talking about. And Alex Ross worked on like Battle of the Planets comics for Dynamite or somebody, I think.
Yeah, that was back in the early 2000s, I think.
But Voltron is definitely it's the brand they want that they're more likely to do if they were going to do anything. And I guess you just need someone to write those 5 characters really strong, like it's got to be about those 5 characters so that
right.
And then you got to love the villain. I think that's a trick too. You got to really like love the villain. You actually want the villain to win. That's the best, when you want the villain to win.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take this quick break. We'll say hello to some more people who popped in the chat. We'll say hello to Brother Joe, Station Brother Joe.
Brother Joe.
Mr. Hoarder's Hide, who's after my $50 BCW long boxes. One of the greatest mustaches in the community, Mr. Eric Durant. Dale of Suspense. And this dawned on me when we have him and Chip in the same chat. There's got to be a Chip and Dale show somewhere in there.
Oh yeah. They got to do it.
The community demands it.
There's no place too big, no place too small.
Machina
at any Chip and Dale.
Brother Joe, and the legend, Freaky Lou.
What's up, man?
All right, so Mr. Nick, didn't read comics as a child. So what were you like into sports cards, video games? And I'm wondering if it was a geographic thing. Did you grow up in Nashville?
No, I grew up in Buffalo. I moved to Nashville when I was about 12. So, I grew up in New York. So we were heavy into like Nintendo. I mean, I was born in the mid 80s. So grew up with Nintendo and grew up with Sega and all this other stuff. So the majority of my time was spent at my buddy's house in his basement playing NES, and we had like TMNT figures and GI Joes, and we would combine those with like fireworks from the corner store and like make our own like battles and shit. So it was like the best time ever. And but yeah, we just had like action figures and Nintendo, man. That's all I really had. And then the
Figures in Nintendo.
right, that's like a song. But yeah, I mean, I think I watched all the same shows that a lot of us did, like X-Men and Batman animated, and whatever else, So yeah. But yeah, any time in my childhood, I was either in front of the NES or I was playing with some mixed matched action figures from any different IP that there is, right? So
Crying about the Bills?
Crying about the Bills. I have very distinct memories of those 4 years in a row. My brother's birthday was on one of the Cowboys wins. I forget which one it was, but I remember him celebrating like his 26th birthday or something like that, and they lost. And we were like all heartbroken. So crying about the Bills.
I remember Michael Jackson was there, and then he was there, and then he was there, and then he was there.
How about them Cowboys?
And then he was on fire.
Oh
yeah,
no!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here in the land of the Cowboys, and I'm telling you that there's not a more bandwagon hopping crowd of people than in North Texas. But
and can I say this? Not only was it the Bills, but it was the Sabres too.
The Sabres.
And I saw Brett Hall probably 3 years ago at a restaurant in Nashville, and I was that close to just sucker punching him, but he wouldn't know what it was for. He wouldn't understand. You know what I mean? But like the Buffalonian in me just wanted to deck him, right? But
he would know. He would know why it
he
happened.
would know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dank. He would know. You're right. You're right.
And then we'll have Austin just stick the knife in a little bit deeper right there.
Exactly.
He could have said wide right, but then we'll leave that one alone. All right, so we'll go clockwise again. Like, do you have a crazy story since you've been back, or something that in your past that maybe you couldn't believe how you scored a book, or what the price of a book was after you looked at it? Something overwhelmingly positive that just blew you away.
I guess Heir to the Empire. I have that. I had that. I bought it. I bought it off the shelf back in 90, whatever. Like, so that was like a total shock that became so valuable. And then, and I got a Akira, right, issue 1, and then I got it graded and everything. And I sold it recently, but like, I was $60 all in on that. So
Nice.
that was very nice. And I didn't expect that. And I guess there's like stuff like that, like finding like rare things and whatever. But I kind of like, I'm like, I just got to delete eBay off my phone, and because they're a once in a lifetime deal happens every other day. That's the secret of it. It's there's no such thing. It's endless.
Yeah, it
Gotta
really
see if
is.
I'm winning, actually. Now that I think about it, am I winning? Let's
Oh,
see.
actually, oh, sorry. Wait, you're talking about good situations?
You can give anything you want. Yeah.
Well, there was like one auction. I was looking up auctions for a while, like physical auctions or whatever, and there was one. It was so cheap, and it had like the first He-Man, first GI Joe, all this stuff, and it was going for like nothing, like a couple $100, and I was like, this will happen again. And it never happened again. Like that kind of like auction never happened again. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit eBay pretty hard when I first started.
Yeah.
I've since weaned off of it. I'm looking more in the LCSs type stuff. But for me, not losing on auctions, I mean, I've been dealing in eBay a long time. But for me, it's like for weeks and weeks, I'll look at a book. And I guess this will be the negative story. I'll look at a book time after time after time after time. We go to my in-laws, and there's an LCS in the mall. Well, I wouldn't really call it a comic store, but their little key box had a Thundercats #1. And I know
Yeah.
I can appreciate this story. After the Thundercat story, I know you have. I kept looking at it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. And I must have said that probably for 5 months. News broke that there was going to be a Thundercats movie. Called up my in-laws. I was like, listen, you got to get to the mall. You got to buy this book now. They go to the mall. That book is gone. Gone. And I think it was like $35.
Oof.
Herogasm. I see it in my LCS time after time after time after time. All right, about to buy it. News drops. Herogasm is going to be this season. Book is gone. Book is gone. So I'll look at it and want to buy something, and then when I'm ready to pull, when I should pull the trigger, it's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. So
I wouldn't worry too much. I honestly, like this, like no one wants to talk about this, but I definitely believe there's gonna be a price correction. Like there's like no way it's not happening, and one of the big triggers will be if the movies start not performing as well. Because the reason it's super overinflated right now is because the mainstream public is like slightly aware of comics, and so I wouldn't feel so. I mean, because like you can get it now and then think it's worth this, and then there's the correction, and then I think selling, this is a good time to sell, but it went up way too fast. It's just these prices are not sustainable, and not a collapse, just like a correction. It's.
Yeah. And I think there was a perfect storm to bring the prices up to the unbelievable heights that they were. People were home. People were getting free money. Movies were great. There was a lull in between Endgame and Black Widow. Now that everybody's going out again, Black Widow is money's not coming in anymore. I think you're right. There definitely will be a correction, not a dip or a bubble burst, so to speak, but a definite correction. Everything.
They have to really focus on digital comics, to be honest. Like what I don't understand is why are digital comics the same price as print comics? That I don't get it. There's no other media that does that. Everyone else, physical is always more expensive by like 20-30%. How come they're not doing that? That doesn't make sense to me. That feels like they don't actually care,
Yeah.
But then they're trying to sell multiple copies to a single consumer instead of get more consumers, right? Which is what you actually need if you want to survive. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of LCSs telling me how they don't understand why they don't market comics at all. These major companies, at all. They're like, how come there's nothing? These movies come out and they don't help us at all, and they don't get it, and I would try to be like, dude, because there's only 100,000 of you, they don't really give a fuck about you. But digital, if you make digital $1 less per issue, across the board, $1, $2 less, the likelihood of getting so many more readers, and it's just, they're just not thinking long term, and they're already doing this in Asia. It's all digital. They're all reading phone, and they're formatting it for the phone too. So a single panel is the phone screen. The industry has to I don't know. They have to grow. They gotta grow. They can't. Right now, we got lucky that we had these two other new collectors joining from the movies, but most of the people that watch the movies did not come to movies. I mean, comics or whatever.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Hey Nick, how about you? Do you have anything that pops out in your head, negative or positive, in your collecting career again?
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky with a couple books. I watched, what was it, Stranger Things season 1, and if you remember, they're bicycling through the neighborhood or whatever, and one of them references X-Men 134. X-Men 134 is the Hellfire issue, has Jean on it, so I went ahead and found that one at my LCS one day, and it was like $50, something like that. And I thought it was in great condition. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. So I sent it to CGC because I knew it was a key issue, and it came back a 9.8. And if I remember correctly, that's like a late 70s book. And to find one raw at that price was pretty insane. And I just kind of held on to it for a long time. And then the movie dropped, and I did what any Well, I did what I had to do at the time to kind of make some money on it, so I was able to flip it. So that was probably my best story about finding something low in the wild, grading it, getting a 9.8, which is like unheard of for me at the time, and then being able to flip it and make some money on it. But those stories are pretty rare though for me, because I don't tend to buy too many old things. I tend to buy more newer stuff. And I kind of happen on some old stuff whenever I get the chance at my LCS. So there's that. But the negative, one of the negatives I have is I hate getting new books and then they actually go up in price, because then the question of whether or not I should hang on to them or flip them enters my mind, and it's like all you can think about. You know what I mean? And it sucks because I'm going to use Stray Dogs for an example. I think a lot of us picked up Stray Dogs. And if you were lucky enough to get on number ones, they're like 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks a piece, right? And it's like, but I like the series. I don't want to flip them. So it's like the collector in me is arguing with the business person in me to kind of like make a decision. And I hate that like conflicting personality that I have. So I'm still trying to work through all that, but I'm anxious to kind of hear what you guys think about that kind of thing.
I tell you what's different. You had mentioned a positive aspect in regards to selling a book, selling that 134 and doing what you had to do at the time. Whereas in my regard, I'd be like, you know how much that book is worth now? How much money I lost? A few weeks ago, I sat here, I looked through my old eBay page, and I saw Amazing Spider-Man 122 I had in a 9.8. which today is a $10,000 book. I sold it then for a good profit, probably about $2,000 or $3,000, but it's quadrupled since then. I've had the Amazing Spider-Man 300. I paid $700 for it. That's $6,000 now.
Wow.
My son, who I was so sure was going to read comic books, X-Men #1, Avengers 4. Those two were signed by Stan, by the way. Amazing Spider-Man #9 at an 8.5. Just a whole ton of key books. That's probably Lamborghini status right now, that I sold and took my family on vacation. Mm-hmm. So instead of doing what I had to do, I look at it in the negative respect. Was just so much money I lost, even though I made a profit on everything. So
I'm lucky I don't have one of those stories, because the books that I flipped, because the price was so high at the time, are not as high as they were. I mean, that book came out, and that's when Dark Phoenix was about to hit in the movies, and that movie flopped, right? And so there's a lot of hype kind of leading into it, and that's when I pulled the trigger and put it on eBay. And since then, it hasn't gone above that. So I was actually pretty lucky. I did that with Captain Marvel #1 too, or Miss Marvel #1, whatever book that was. Came back at 9.6, and I flipped that one when the movie came out. But if I was in your situation and I sold it and it went way higher than that, man, we'd be having a different conversation for sure. But I really, really hate. And I saw one of the comments. I think it was Evil saying it. Never look at comics as money, but like when you're in this business and you're that in tune with everything, it's always in the back of your mind, unfortunately. And I'm trying to like figure out a way to pull that out of my brain so it's not so much on the forefront, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. And Dank has brought this up in his videos. Part of it is having the hobby fund itself.
Yep.
You don't get tied to so many books that you can let go of them. You can let go of them. All right, Mr. Flash by night, Nick by day. How about you? What sticks out?
So I don't have necessarily bad stories. I'm pretty much on the side of we're alive, we're breathing, we have the income to go buy books. So even bad things aren't really bad.
Yeah, that's all first world problems, right?
Right. But when I first started, quote unquote, trying to collect, which is going out and finding more than just my weekly pull list books, I went to look through a couple of flea markets, and I found this beauty here.
What?
That, like, it's nice. It's nice and shiny and clean, and
what?
And I just,
what is that? Real?
I just play with it. No, it's not.
Stop
So
shaking it.
shake it like a Polaroid picture. So no,
Great.
so I saw this in the flea market, and I knew what the cover was. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this the first Justice? And it was like $2. Like, is this the first Justice? Like, have I struck gold on my first foray into collecting? And so I went through looking. So I picked it up and I kind of set it to the side. I growled at a couple of people walking by the booth because I didn't want them to come in and accidentally pick up my $3, $4, $5,000 book, however much it was, or however much I thought it was. I rolled around with it all day, like I have this I guess you would call it grill nowadays. I have this grill and it's great. like I'm gonna pay for somebody's school, or I'm gonna get a new car, something like this collecting thing can't be that easy. And then as I get home and get ready to put it up, it's actually a Loot Crate reprint.
Yeah.
Like it was like I had a whole day of euphoria, only to turn it around and it's a
Oh.
Loot Crate reprint.
So you got a taste. You got a taste then of what.
Yeah, so now I actually have to find the real. Well, not this real thing. I don't know if I'm going to find this real thing.
Wow.
But now I actually have to find a real grill since I've come close.
Yeah, well, especially with that movie coming out and that being the Starro being the major villain in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Right,
Good luck with that.
right.
Good luck.
There's no telling how much because I haven't actually looked to see how much this actual book is worth. I haven't looked at it in a long time because I wasn't really it's not something I was looking because I had just started, so I didn't know what I was looking for. The cover kind of just jumped out at me like I've seen it before,
Of course.
and I had to look it up to see what it was, and then I got excited and never did look at the back of it to see it was a reprint.
But you know what? Having experienced that super high that we get when we actually find those books was pretty
Right.
good early on, you know. So
Right now, have I gotten that? Have I gotten that? Look, I found a Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I think like the second Miles Morales in that same bin for $2, which it didn't. I guess it wasn't a big thing then, and I want to say it may be signed by the inker. I don't know whose signature that is. But yeah, that was my sad. I thought I struck gold story.
yeah, when coming back in, I've always had 4 long boxes. And it's funny. I've had the Justice League pretty much the entire run from like the late '90s. That was one of my favorite runs to read. I've had Exo Man of War, but I don't know. I had a few one-off copies, just some random books, and 2 of them have to be Ultimate Fallout 4.
Ah,
So I still had them in the poly bag, and I usually buy things in 3s. You know, I guess that's 1 to rock to stock, and then 1 to sell. I guess that's the credo. I can't find that 3rd copy, but I've got 2 of them. One in 9.4 and one in the 9.6. And I think this time around, I'm going to keep the 9.6, and that I'll just hold on to forever, I think. Because that Miles, as we all know, is the crazy book. You know, at one point it's $600. Now I think it's up to $2,400, or at the high $3,000. I think it was.
Jeez.
and it's a book that I don't think is coming back. Like we're all looking for the correction in the market as a whole, but I don't think that book is coming back.
Yeah, and there's not many. Like in the past 20 or 30 years, it's Miles, Venom, Deadpool. Who else? Who else in 20 years? Who else is probably longer than that? Who else is big like that?
Oh, that's a good point.
So
And I think the game had a lot to do with that too, right? That Avengers game that came out, wasn't that a catalyst for like Miles to explode
The
as
Miles-
well? Or am I missing that?
I think the movie.
it was the Miles
Oh no,
game.
it was
The movie.
yeah, it was the movie and
the movie,
yeah.
and then there was a Miles game, and
Okay,
I had the Miles Nas hip hop cover,
oh,
and it shot up
those
to like
covers are great.
it shot up to like $200, and I let it go at that point. I'll sometimes sooner or later, maybe it'll come back and I'll run into that book again at a decent price. But it went from like $30-$40 to $200 almost overnight after the game trailer. Not even the game release, after the game trailer. And I let it go before it came back, and it just hadn't come back yet.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just sitting on all the Miles stuff right now. I probably have about 10 or 15 9.8s with just Miles' face on them, and I'm just waiting.
I hadn't let go of anything else Miles since then, because I kind of have the itch to get that one back, but I can't. My frugalness won't let me go and get it for the same price I sold it for.
Yeah. So, and Dank, how about you? Do you put a big emphasis on selling stuff? I know you're big into I want to say doing the right thing, paying it forward.
Yeah. So let me ask you, when you did that vacation with your family, right? From the selling, right? What was that vacation?
We went to Cancun, I think it was.
Cancun. How long were you there?
We were there for a week.
Was it good? Was it a good vacation?
It was great. It was
great.
Beautiful.
All right, so I would argue that is priceless. And the younger you do that with your children, the more valuable it is, right? So like a Lamborghini today is not in comparison to that priceless week, right? And if there's a correction too, you're gonna be filled with lots of regret too that you didn't sell, right? So when that happens, you're gonna have a lot of, oh, I could have had, if I didn't sell. Also, I like to invest in minority first appearances a lot. So Miles is one of them, right? But and slab them and stuff. But really though, honestly, the best thing I like to do with them is to give it to like a friend's kid, right? Oh. So like my friend Dwayne, he has a daughter. I'm gonna give her the Moon Knight, Moon Girl, the first appearance of Moon Girl, the first trade, the 12-issue trade. Like, I like to find these minority characters, slab them, and give them to kids that can see themselves in these characters and be like, oh yeah, by this way, this is like the first appearance, like in a thing and whatever and all that jazz, and just to like blow their mind, like, hey, I'm like, hey. I think that's more fun for me. Like, and I think of things in terms of the economics of joy rather than money, right? Was this worth? How much money was this worth? Does me giving an AOK of a comic I bought for $40, but for that person they think it's worth $1,000, right? That joy, does that equate to the $40 I spent like 4 months ago? Yeah, it does, right? There's like no question. That's a bargain. That's a bargain basement deal to get that kind of joy from somebody. Yeah, and ultimately that's all that matters in the end. Like, so
and then the added fact to kind of wonder if that kid is going to be thinking about you 40 years from now when they love comics.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, yeah, well, Dank turned me on to that, and I really appreciate that. I'll never forget that. And yeah, you can't put a price tag on that.
Oh man, I have a friend and her son. He had like an autoimmune disorder during COVID, and lost all his hair and stuff, right? And then we found out he likes comics. He's bald, and I'm bald. He likes YouTube. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I just started a channel, right? So now he watches my channel. He's like drawing comics. I sent him a huge AOK of books, and it just fucking changed his world for a second, And I was like, oh, that's everything. That is the point of all of this. Like we completed the circle. It's over, And I realized like that's what this is about, man. Like, I sent him a bunch of keys and shit, and like slab stuff, and like. Yeah, yo, and I'm gonna take him to the comic book store, and I don't know. That's why I talk about digital comics and getting more people to read this stuff, because it's so good. The quality is so good. Yeah. But people don't know, like the mainstream public. So I think there's we need to really push getting it out there. I don't know.
And you know what? I'm gonna give everybody a little taste of what Dank was just talking about, because I watched his video earlier today, and this kind of emphasizes exactly what he was talking about.
Oh man.
So our friend Mr. Simple Simon got an A-OK from our friend Dank. And I'll press it.
Okay. All right, I forgot about this. He knew I was moving, so he told me. He asked me if this was going to make it in time. So I told him to send it to a friend of mine, and he said to me he threw in an extra book that would be lick-worthy, and he definitely did. And let's see this lick-worthy book. It's right at the top here. You did well, Dank. You did well. He's got me a Vampirella book. Hang on. Let's do this. I'll flip them upside down because all right, so I've seen the top book already. So that I think is the extra book that he's thrown in for me. Definitely a lick-worthy book. You know me. I love me some Vampy covers. And there's my. I don't know who does that cover though.
You can skip to the last book. The last book is the one that shocks him kind of because he didn't expect that.
Oh yeah, that was what was that one?
I think it was after the Batman 100. But after that.
That one? Nope.
Yeah.
Comes the last one.
That was a grown man, by the way.
Boom. Oh! Yeah. Is it the first bishop?
It's first bishop.
Is that the first bishop? I feel like that's the first bishop. I don't know much about X-Men, but I'm pretty sure I just got a key. Wow. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. I actually remember when I was a kid thinking Bishop was very cool because I did read X-Men when I was a kid. And I remember when I bought some sort of Marvel or X-Men trading card and I pulled this sweet
that was $15.
Yeah, and that Rose Besh Vampirella too wasn't it's not a cheap book nowadays.
No, but I know he likes that stuff. I don't know. We have too much shit, you know. Like, that's what I also love about having getting too much by accident. Just A-OK those efforts out there. Oh, yeah. And the more A-OKs I give, the more I'm receiving almost. And the ones I'm receiving are wild. They're as wild as the ones I'm giving. So that's pretty weird.
Now, do you feel humble? Like for me, I've gotten a few, and honestly, just to get stuff from strangers.
You keep winning stuff, man.
Well, not
you win like crazy. I see you win all over the giveaways.
I do well, but you know what? Too, I pay it forward also.
Yeah.
You know, so and during Remy Q's giveaway, I had won a Spawn book, and I'm not a Spawn guy, regardless of the poster. The poster for me was it's about the wings. But I know my friend Austin LeMay is trying to complete that Spawn run. I'm like, it's better served there. So it makes me happy to kind of plug a hole, so to speak. But it's still weird, you know, because essentially, as good as we get along together here, you know, we're still essentially strangers. You know what I mean? And it's humbling to have somebody you really don't know send you something that's so on point for you just because they pay attention. Makes me shed a tear a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, Dank, you're not allowed to send me anymore. I don't care how many things I win.
Oh yeah, did you get the second one? You won twice. This guy.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not a fan of people winning twice, but
I'm not either.
It happens.
Yeah, I'm not either. So I'm yeah. But I've taken your advice and started to pay it forward. And I mean this shirt from Brother Joe and Bobby De La Ghetto, I mean, among other A-OK items. I mean, like, the community's great. So we'll just keep sharing the love. Because you're right, we have too much shit. We got to share it around.
No, and I agree. And not to say that the comic book community is cliquey. I think there are definitely factions and you know, the PCP Army and the Bad Batch. Just that whole station movement really gets me. You know what I mean? Because it's such a positive, even being in the chat is nothing but positivity, you know, and I'm not used to it, but it's so heartwarming that you want to pay it forward. You know, so you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, it's not very masculine.
Yeah, no, yeah, and good thing that's not the point, right? As you know, so it's like, yeah, it's been a crazy journey, and I think we're all those people who are kind of everyone's misunderstood. Everybody wants to find a place. Everybody wants to find acceptance and be a part of something, and so there's no reason to throw shade anywhere, and especially in a community like this, with a hobby like this, with passion like this. So, yeah, well said. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think too is like for a long time there was that stigma. If you read comic books, you're a nerd, and it was such a negative connotation about it. That it feels good to be in a community where everybody knows what that's like, I guess to a degree, and we're all enjoying it now. And we're all sharing our knowledge and putting each other onto new stuff, and I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing. So,
yeah.
All right, hey, Mr. Flash, how about you?
So, I'm trying to get these out of the way so I don't have a whole lot of exciting stories. I enjoy hanging around the community and everything. But my one other small regret in this collecting, I've said this before, is that when I first decided that I was going to be a Moon Knight fan, because I came to Moon Knight because I'm a Marine Corps vet, and I'm like, well, I want to at least have one Marine vet character that I follow. And I got to Marvel, and it was either the Punisher or Moon Knight. I'm like, well, a lot of people already read the Punisher. I've never heard of this Moon Knight character, so we're gonna go this way. And then I found out that the first appearance of Moon Knight, which after I found out the first appearances were a thing, I found out the first appearance of Moon Knight was Werewolf by Night 32. Yeah. I went to eBay to see if I can find it, and they were just floating around for like $50, $60, $70. I'm a new collector. Who pays $50 or $60 or $70 for books? I'm not paying for this. Y'all can keep it. If one comes around for like $20 or $30, maybe, but I'm not paying $50 for this book. Fast forward to 2021.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, unless I either hit the lottery, sell an organ, or go to the perfect garage sale, I may never see that book. But I passed it up. Had the money. Having the money wasn't the problem. I just passed it up on principle because I didn't know what I was doing. And Werewolf by Night was sitting there for like $50, $60 like every day of the week.
Yeah, see, you have to be a degenerate like me. You just buy everything and then you lament the fact that it dips so low in price. It's not even worth it.
I was like, I'm not gonna pay $50 for this. You know what I can do with $50? And really, I just wasted $50 somewhere else. But I'm not paying for this book, and now the book is like raw is like $1,000 for a decent condition.
You went out to eat that night and spent $75.
Right. See?
And you don't even know where you went that night.
And I don't need to go out to eat. It's fine. You can say it.
We're all in the house pretty much reading comic books anyway, so I think physical fitness for me was a priority until I started reading again, and now I barely get to the gym anymore. So.
Well, if you buy more books each week, it's like cardio and weightlifting at the same time.
Yeah. If you buy enough, like 10 in this hand, 10 in this hand, and just
Jim Min is like ripped, dude. He's because he's buys with the omnibuses. Dude.
I might develop a short box exercise.
There you go.
A short box to do a bunch of full body exercises, you just like hold it and move your body in different ways.
All right, Dank called it. We're all a bunch of creators, but Dank already shotgun that idea.
Yep. He's on the forefront of good, revolutionary thinking. Anyway.
Oh, I already shot a video.
Oh, good, yeah.
Oh, great.
Not the short box, video. But close, very close.
Short box yoga. Yeah. Let me write that down.
But that's coming. It's just I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I don't want to necessarily like create a workout and like have everybody get injured and get sued.
That's great.
Speaking of writing things down that other people say, Nick, before I forget, I wanted to tell this story. So I was shooting my new comic book day video last night, and I had my new comic books, and I had this mail that they got this mailer from Black Cape Comics, and so I'm doing my little intro, and I'm like, okay, I have these books, but I also have this box. Stick around. And then I'm like, wait a minute, wait, that's not mine. I can't say that. I compose myself. I go back, and yeah, I have my books, and I have this mailer, and it's got nice books in it. Stick around. Wait a minute. Why did I say that again? And like maybe 3 or 4 times to stick around before I got that out of my system. I'm like, okay, no more DJ Links videos for like a week or two, because for some reason his intro is stuck in my head, and I'm gonna be the first one to get a community copyright strike.
No, we've all done it. And we've all been to the point like that fucking guy, man. He takes such a simple little saying. I mean, it's normal.
Stick around.
The new one is stay still as fuck.
Yeah,
like that doesn't roll off the tongue the same.
yeah. And I can't do an outro. I can't do like an end of a video without saying ding 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 that notification bell. I just can't do it because of freaking Big Herm. I just can't do it. I can't not do it. It's driving me crazy.
I like having an exit line because like sometimes when you don't know how to end it, you just use the exit line and then you're gone. You're out.
Yeah. See in the comments every time. That's my exit line.
See, and two, it's like I like doing streams because streams are easy. You know, in lives, I mean, unless it's like something like I just did for Jimmy's channel, the creative process for me is it's stagnant for me. Like unless I have like one particular thing I can focus on, I'd rather do lives. I'd rather be spontaneous.
Yeah.
Like, and I know at the end of this stream, there's always going to be that awkward pause at the end.
That's so funny though.
I can't say anything because Gary B always points to the awkward pause.
Yeah.
So it's so tough. So what do you do?
You just go, I got Jimmy'd like that, and you just jump up.
That's right.
Yeah, so I do the I'll be back in a flash thing at the end of my videos, and then I kind of fade out. Now the only problem with that is when I'm live, and I've tried to do it live. I do my outro. I'll be back in the flash, but then while I'm pointing to myself, I also have to go up here and end the stream. Like that looks so goofy. Like
you have that.
Yeah.
For like 10 seconds.
Right.
I'm good at the beginning, like the whole AO thing. I'm good.
Right.
I don't know how to end it. I can't end it. I don't know.
Yeah. You need something like queued up in the files there to like play out while you're hitting the end stream twice because you have to.
But also, you like collaborative art. You know, like you were saying, you like live streams better because you're collaborating. You know, and you're like bouncing like improv almost. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do much better spontaneously.
And when you're solo, it's like you're doing stand up by yourself. You know, and you gotta.
Oh no.
And there's no clapping. There's no clapping. There's no you don't hear a word.
I've tried stand up once. I'm totally down for collaborative. I forgot half my jokes, and nobody clapped until my last one, and it was terrible, and I never did try it again.
I want to know everything about that story at some point.
You gotta lean into not being funny. Just like lean into it.
That may be it. That may be it.
That's great, man. That takes a lot of balls.
It does.
Congratulations for trying.
My wife had to edit this video for a cook, like a YouTube cook or whatever, famous person, and but like it was hot outside and they were grilling, and they were always like hot, and the performance was weaker because it was so hot out. I was like, oh, lean into that. Like emphasize how hot it is, and like replay the clips of her talking about how hot it is, and then and then like she's like, you solved this edit. I was like, yeah, you just make it part of the whole thing.
Don't try to beat it. Use it. Yeah.
It's the elephant in the room. Just acknowledge it, and it goes away, right?
Just bring the racism out there, just everywhere.
Just like you said, lean into it.
Oh God!
And then when you have to create a whole new YouTube channel with a whole new name on,
yeah, what else could I do a channel on?
It just wasn't so good. All right, guys. So we're just about hitting the hour mark, and we'll go reverse. Flash, I know we just ended with you. Do you have anything else you want to end with, or do you want to say goodnight? What do you got going on in your channel?
I just want to say thank you to the community for once again bringing me in, putting up with a little bit of stuttering and my million a month. Like 3 people have told me in the last 2 days that I guess people are shy about telling me I a lot, but 3 people in the last 2 days have come to me and said, "You a lot." And so the fact that people still actually listen and want to hear me talk, even though I more than I say other words, I am incredibly grateful for. And I'm having there you go, there's and I'm having fun and hanging out with you guys and making videos and just being trying to be part of the community. I need to be live more. That's the only thing that I think I'm lacking now is just spontaneously going live. Like I think Nick and Dank like one Sunday morning, like back to back, just going live. Like, oh, okay, well, my Sunday is booked, and it was fun to watch. But besides that, I am doing my review videos, new comic book day stuff. I'm still workshopping something original because those are fun, but I think everybody does those. I want to find something original, something in my wheelhouse, and so we'll see what that is sooner or later.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
It comes along, and the people who say you a lot, do they have channels?
No, I almost said
Dude,
Well, then they have no say. Get out of here with that crap.
This shit is not easy.
Come on a live stream. Yeah, come on a live stream, buddy.
This is actually helping me out a lot. Just being live and doing the channel period, because so I'm in a management class at work, and one of the requirements is to do a 20-minute presentation on something I came up with, and this is really helping me out. Like I haven't presented since I was in school, so this is actually helping me out a lot on a personal note.
Yeah.
I think there aren't a shortage of lives to do, and I think that's the great thing about this community is everybody is very welcoming. At first it's pretty much your own kind of fear about it,
right?
The community itself is just so welcoming. They'll welcome you in. It's very warm and gracious, but you can tell you really made it when they start to make fun of you. And they make fun of you. That's when you know you're really in.
That's what I tell real life people. If I don't talk to you, then there's something wrong. But if I crack a joke every once in a while, yeah, you're okay.
I agree. All
right, if I fart in front of you, you know we're cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still haven't farted in front of I think in 11 years of marriage, I farted in front of my wife once.
What?
Wow. No. Come on now.
I mean, we've seen each other in the bathroom. That's just not my thing.
No, it's got to be a button to a bunch of jokes. The fart is the ultimate button to hundreds of jokes.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah. I just don't want to open that door to smell her stuff. You know what I mean?
Maybe you need to open that door.
You're right.
Yeah. It's
maybe. Yeah.
A whole new chapter.
Yeah, I'll let you know how that turns out.
We want updates, like frequent updates.
Just to clarify, we are talking about farts.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I can see Friday and Saturday night in the Dank household how that's going.
That's
I mean, there is a window back there, so
he just turns and just goes, opens it up. Not a problem, man. Not a problem.
That's how I end half my jokes.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Nick, how about you? What do you got going on?
No. First off, I just want to say, Flash, I love your reviews. You and I have a very similar opinion about a lot of things, and so I really enjoy tuning into your reviews. So guys, check out Flash's reviews, because every time I watch one of your videos, I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I thought the same thing. So I think you and I are like in the same wavelength. So that's really, really cool.
Well, I told you are, and we're not gonna get to the Mutual Admiration Society, but you are my Saturday morning routine, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's get up, do what I need to do, go get breakfast, and while I'm going to get breakfast, put on Nick at Night. And see what Nick read and what he thought.
That's so fun. That's great. Yeah, but big fan. So keep doing what you're doing, because I absolutely love it. And then Dank is like our community spiritual leader right now. Dude, you're absolutely killing it with your advice and your perspective and your generosity and stuff like that. So absolutely, thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing, obviously. And Nick, I'm getting to know you more and more through the chats and everything, but you've been extremely grateful and extremely generous and very welcoming and everything. So I really appreciate you bringing us on and having this conversation, because it's amazing. And this is why we do this, so we can all hang out and chill. So
that's why he's the bestest Nick from the brightest timeline.
Yep. We always argue who the best Nick is. And one day we're going to have like a trifecta or quadra, whatever, live stream. That's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, and we're going to we'll destroy the internet on that.
It'll just be like a big Inception moment and kill everything.
It's a comic book series.
Yep.
Nicks.
Never enough Nicks.
Never enough Nicks.
It's the real what do they call it in Loki? It's the real Nexus event. When too many Nicks get together, the multiverse is going to branch out.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't think I'd kiss a female version of me, though.
I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of narcissistic for sure, right? I don't know about that. It depends. We'll see.
Yeah, well, you got this version right here. Why would you?
I would hang out with the alligator version of me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, no doubt.
I'd hang out with the alligator. I would really hang. I feel like I'm an old soul, like I have been forever. So I'd really hang out with the classic version of me. I'd like to sit there and talk to him on the porch somewhere for like 6 hours.
That may be your glorious purpose.
Yeah, that would be a trip.
You become that person. You know, after a while, you just become that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Get off my lawn.
That is weird to think about, like how you were 10 years ago versus now.
It's completely different.
It is. Different. So just imagine if you found like a 75-year-old version of yourself, like what that person could be like. But yeah. I just had a great time, guys. I really appreciate you inviting me and being able to talk with you guys. It's the highlight of my day. And
before we get to Dank, it's something with each of you I connected with. Like with Flash, you had mentioned one time, I think we were in a chat about, how I say hello to everybody, and it's like, hey, yo. And then you threw in, all right. And I know it's from a hip hop song. I cannot for the life of me remember what song that was.
The group is called This and That. They are from the same clique as who did Cicero? Not the 69 Boys.
Wasn't it the 69 Boys though?
Was it the 69 Boys?
I think it was.
Okay, so they are so This and That was a female group that kind of hung out with them. And Hey Yo All Right was like at the end of their hook.
So there it goes. And I was like, yeah, he listened to the same music I did.
Right.
That actually what drew me to Nick, because Nick was talking to TM one day and he was like, and I know Nashville is a hotbed for music, but all the bands he was spitting out, I was like, I listened to that. It was Suicidal Tendencies, right? I listened to that too.
Yeah.
That was in the chat. And I was like, he's got a good taste in music.
I remember that.
I want to talk to that guy, and he's got the best name in the world.
So you said Nashville, Tennessee. I really thought we were going to do country because I was going to try to spit out the 5 country songs I know.
Oh no! I would be completely lost. I grew up in the punk rock, grunge, that kind of era back in Buffalo. And when I came here, I carried all that influence with me and ignored all the local scene for the most part. So
I I didn't grow up around country, but I had somebody introducing me to it when I was in California, and I'm like, you know what? I one or two drinks in, I'm like,
Dude,
country makes sense. Like they're the same problems I see and I have. It sounds like they're in country.
if you hate country in general, there are threads like every other genre of music out there that are real genuine, real good, and easy to listen to. Hit me
Yeah.
up. I'll throw some names at you guys if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
See, and then what drew me to Dank is like when I first started getting into YouTube, he was parallel to me and trying to figure out what's going on now. Hey, newsstand variants are worth more. People want that now. Whereas when I was growing up, I'm like, I don't want that ugly crap. And trying to figure out what's what and how to navigate the landscape of comic books today was kind of tough, and it kind of flipped everything that I thought I knew about comics. I kind of saw in Dank and what he was trying to do when he first got in.
Yeah.
But he was so calm and cool and collected about it. I was like, that guy's in California. There's no way that guy is that relaxed. And then I found out he's in New York, and then find out he's in Brooklyn. I was like, all right, okay, cool. I'm going to find out what that guy's about too.
Oh yeah.
So, Mr. Dank, what do you got going on? Are the Saturday Lives still an ongoing thing?
Yeah, but I gotta move this weekend to Sunday, because of family stuff. But yeah, I think the live is a thing. I figured out how to have music playing too with StreamYard. If you have a video that when you share a video, but you make a video that's just like the song that keeps playing for a while, you can share that without showing the window, and then music is streaming. Like and like crisp music. I think that's what I figured out today. So I'm gonna hopefully it'll work.
Nice.
I also teach public speaking. I actually coach people. I've coached like CEOs and like celebrities on how to speak to the public, stuff like that. Like just mentioning in case like if you wanted to like, and I know James Earl Jones is a stutterer too. I don't know if you know that, but yeah.
Know it.
Wouldn't have ever known.
Oh yeah, he's a stutterer. Yeah, his performance helps him like not have it, and then but he's actually a stutterer. And in terms of like people's similarities in viewpoint, I find Taylor Winder and I are like almost exactly on. Like our reviews are almost the same, but he goes. So like I try not to even do negative reviews. Actually, that's like a thing. So I just don't even talk about books that I didn't like, but he'll talk about them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I agree, yeah, that's true. I think what's cool about lives is that I don't think they would work if it wasn't for like Zoom being part of the zeitgeist now because of coronavirus. Like so now we're all willing to watch this kind of stuff, but pre-corona, we probably wouldn't even have any, like we wouldn't spend a second looking at this kind of shit. We would want to watch cable like nice and polished, So that really changed the zeitgeist and made it possible to have this new kind of collaborative art, which is pretty amazing. And I think if anything, it's taught us how vulnerable we are. I think that's like what this whole era is about. It's like reminding us of our vulnerability to make us stronger ultimately. I think I'm going to start an interview series called Brain Pickers. Maybe. That's like a working title, Brain Pickers.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, you haven't missed really on anything since you've gotten in. So I don't doubt it'll be a hit.
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just messing around, I'm playing like children, like we did in the sandbox, I'm just fucking playing. And it's amazing, like what's happening.
And I think that's the fun part of Dank's channel is that he's trying and experimenting with stuff. And I could literally, because I really enjoyed the Bruce Lee lesson that you put out a few weeks back. I'm like, you know what? Dank can just get on YouTube and talk about anything, and I can put Dank on, and he can be teaching how to, I don't know, do carpentry, and I'm just
not
carpentry
me.
by Dank.
I am born in Queens though. That is true. So I am not handy whatsoever. I'm a city slicker. I can make kombucha. That's about as handy as I get.
I'm waiting for the kombucha video then.
All right.
Kombucha and comics. That'll be your Monday morning show.
So if you guys don't know, Dank also, and is it okay if I plug the other channel?
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, yeah.
If you want to get metaphysical with it, and there was one video that stuck out in my mind because at night, when you shut the lights and you tend to go to sleep and you don't have your mind going, it could tend to go to some dark places. So I tend to think about death a lot. And one of Dank's videos put a lot of things in perspective for me. So I'll find that channel. I'll link it down below, and I highly suggest going to check it out because it'll make you think about some stuff and put things in a lot of perspective. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I do have another channel which is very different than this channel.
Very
it's not
different.
about comics. It's about like life and getting jobs and like what life is about and creativity, all this stuff. But that channel didn't go anywhere. The comic channel went through the roof, So I'm kind of more or less bringing all that shit over here, little by little, because this is my audience. Man.
And you just sprinkle it in.
Sprinkle it in, because this is the community. Like this is it's a real living community, and it's a miracle to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. And on that note, I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming out tonight. It's always a pleasure to interact with you guys. You guys are always throwing points out that we might miss, or funny comment, or talking along. And I suggest if you guys ever want to, if you see a live, hop on. If it's not me, Mark from Legion of Comics will be there Friday mornings. He welcomes everybody in. And it's like a family. It really is. And I mean, you will not get turned away. You will not get made fun of off the bat. But when you start getting made fun of, then you know you made it.
You made it.
Then you're in the family.
Then you're in the family.
In.
Also, I want to thank my fine group of very understanding gentlemen. I was late tonight. I was running. I kind of want to choke my wife for putting me in a situation, but
it's all good. All good.
I want to thank Mr. Dank for comics. Looking that he even got a good point the first time. Mr. Flash by Night, he finally read Moon Knight. Finally. I can't do the diagonal point. But the bestest Nick from the brightest timeline, Nick from Comic Culture. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Appreciate you guys. I guess we're ready for the awkward pause.
Let's do it.
Hit it twice. Oh, and station,
everyone.
Awkward pause.